Now, there's a warning that disabled people are being failed by the planning system because of a lack of suitable new housing. The District Councils network, which represents 169 councils across England, wants housing authorities to be given new powers to ensure developers build more accessible homes. Nikki Fox reports.
Daniel has a physics degree. He's a photographer, writes code and has worked alongside NASA. He's done much of this from his bedroom. He's had to, because the home he's lived in with his mum Julia for more than 30 years isn't accessible or adaptable.
This is Daniel's room. The ceiling hoist isn't right for Daniel. We have to move the bed every time we want to get Daniel out. We have to get him in the sling and hoist him up over to the chair. Then he moves out the way so we can move other things out the way. That is a tight squeeze for him to get round and not take the gate with him.
It almost feels like being in prison. You've got to ask permission to go out. Yeah, it's just restricted. It does depress you after a while.
Daniel says he's been on the housing waiting list for 7 years. Next year he will finally move into his new home with his mum, but it's still not ideal.
I'll have a bigger bedroom, which is a good thing. The rest of the property isn't totally accessible. But again, I just sort of work on it once I'm there.
Yeah, better than where you are at the moment.
Yeah. Not hugely. Well, hopefully it will be at some point.
2 years ago, the previous government promised that all new homes would be built to the new adaptable standard, meaning they don't have steps and are more spacious. But that hasn't happened, and there are growing calls for Labour to make this a priority.
There's certainly not enough quality accessible accommodation available for them, and that is something that urgently needs to be reviewed and addressed. So we would be looking for a commitment of around 8 to 10% of homes being built that are accessible.
There's no way of really knowing just how many new accessible homes are being built in England because the government doesn't collect that data. The District Councils network says one of the problems is that homes may start out as being accessible, but then the features that help disabled people live independently are then removed. Emma was on the housing register for 8 years before she moved here. Her bungalow wasn't built to the adaptable home standard, but it works, and it's changed her and her partner's life.
I've got so much more independence, and we're stronger as a couple. We've been able to foster a dog. I've been able to do a bit more voluntary work. It's not just the fact that we live together, it's all, all aspects really.
Emma and Daniel both say it took years to find their new homes because of a lack of accessible options.
It's like 50 or 60 on the list. So.
And you've applied for a few of those?
Yeah.
Out of that 50 or 60?
Yeah.
And is that because the others just aren't suitable?
Yeah, basically. Anything that looks slightly suitable, I apply for just in case. But we've only been accepted for 2.
Daniel's local authority says it took over the management of housing in order to build and deliver more affordable and social rented homes, including those better suited to disabled people. It says it's a national issue and strongly relies on increased and more urgent support from government. The government says it's providing a range of safe and suitable accessible housing as part of its ambitions to build 1.5 million new homes over the next 5 years, and it will set out its policies shortly. Nikki Fox, BBC News.
Well, let's speak now to Adam Gabsi, a disability rights campaigner and chair of Inclusion London. Hello to you. Just how big is the shortage of accessible housing at the moment?
Hi Lucy, good morning. Currently there are 14.6 million disabled people in the UK, and I feel that the policies do not reflect this. Going forward, we have an ageing population, and I feel that housing is a massive issue, and the policies do not reflect this at all. and people are isolated, are unable to live safely, and we are in a housing crisis. But I would say that it's also a human rights crisis.
What is it that stops new developments being built accessibly? Is it about space? Is that the issue?
Well, I would say that there needs to be a standard. So disabled people have faced 14 years of cuts, and we need the new government to come in, set a standard for all new builds to be made accessible. I don't necessarily think it's a space issue, it's a design issue. And things need to be made better.
So it's not that they actually have to be, you're not asking for them all to be built so that they could be totally accessible, it's that they could be adapted in the future.
Yes, there's a standard called M42, and we'd want M42 to be the standard for all new builds. M42 means they are adaptable or accessible. So if you were to become disabled and need the access, it could be adapted.
Right. And in terms of what the government has been saying, you're hearing Nikki Fox in her piece there quoting these government plans saying that they're going to be providing a range of safe and suitable accessible housing as part of their plans, which they're going to set out something like 1.5 million homes that will be accessible over the next few years. Does that fill you, with confidence?
I'm quite sceptical of governments generally, because after 14 years of cuts, it's hard to be confident. However, I do remain hopeful that the government will do the right thing and make accessible housing going forward and make M42 the standard, so all new build homes are accessible or adaptable.
OK, well, thanks very much for your time, Adam Gabsi there from Inclusion London. Good to talk to you. Thanks.
Thank you.